Yeah, okay. But it doesn't lose value. Yes.
We are back at the Wisconsin Writers Association Annual Conference in Stevens Point, and we are so pleased to be with one of our major sponsors of this event, Ross Tangedal from Cornerstone Press.
Yes.
Hi, Ross.
Hello.
Will you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, my press is student staffed at the university. We're the university press at UWSP, and we are a literary press, so we publish primarily short stories and collections of short stories, poetry, and memoirs and books of essays. The unique part of our program is that students are involved in all aspects of the publishing process, from acquisitions to final production marketing. So it's been really great over the last 9 years to grow the program and encourage Midwestern voices, which is one of the things that we really care about.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to share a little bit about anything coming up with you guys that you have on the calendar?
Yeah, we've got quite a few Wisconsin writers putting out books with us. Some repeat books. Steve Fox, a member of the WWA, is putting out his follow-up collection to his first collection. Catherine Gall, another member, is putting out her first book of short stories next spring. And we also, a lot of our books are Midwestern focused. So Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, a lot of Midwestern writers. Those books of short stories in particular are coming out here in the next 3 months. So yeah, just a lot of activity around the press.
That's great.
Yeah. So last night, I understand that some of the students put on a literary trivia event. The one question I have, does Stevens Point offer the Alex Trebek educational track for literary trivia?
They should, because we have a very big trivia community around here. The 90 FM trivia contest is kind of world famous. So it wouldn't be the worst thing if that was the case.
All right. So as a major partner and sponsor for this year's WWA conference, talk us a little bit about what your group is doing and what, what's really taking up your time, because you've been busy at this conference.
Yeah. Well, obviously we are involved in the book exhibit. We want to showcase, not only our books, but the books of the writers that are at the conference. So we try to really match. If we know that one of the writers will be here, we want to give their work, especially a nice showcase. Also, it's really important for our students to come to festivals like this, conferences, and meet with other professionals so they get a sense of what this part of the industry looks like. The publishing industry has so many moving parts, and this is one of them. This is the public-facing PR part of it. So it's great for students. But then, of course, as a publisher too, I take kind of informal pitches from authors who are looking for, someone to find a home for their manuscript. I talk to other publishers, other editors who are working on different projects, just networking within the profession also, and proving that independent publishing is really strong in the state. And we need to keep developing that, because frankly, the big houses aren't going to save literature. It's going to be the independent presses that save literature as we know it. So that's true.
Always.
Yeah.
So with the students that you have in your program helping at this, is it a fair assumption to say that many of them are on some type of literary track, whether it's journalism, English major? Sure. Is that generally where you pull from?
Yeah, most of our majors are English majors. So whether that's, we have a couple of tracks. We have writing, editing, and publishing, which is more targeted toward creative writers and those that are interested in the publishing industry, working somehow in publishing. And then we have literature majors and education majors. We have a renowned education program at the university. But for the most part, it's all English majors, and we do have minors in creative writing, professional writing. So we get students interested, again, as writers themselves, or as aspiring editors that are interested in words and working with words. And we're really excited. They like being part of the press's activity.
Ross, aren't you an author as well?
I am. Yeah, I'm a scholar. I'm not a creative writer. I always remind people that I'm not a very good creative writer. So I don't really practice it. But I'm an academic writer. I'm a scholar. Yep. I've written a book, and I've edited several edited collections. I've got a new one coming out here next year called Good Country: Ernest Hemingway and the American West.
Ooh.
I publish articles and book chapters in journals and peer-reviewed venues predominantly on Ernest Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald are my two primary focuses. So when I'm not being a publisher, I'm actively cultivating my own research agenda.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. So, favorite thing about your job?
It's working with students. That's always the answer, and it's the true answer. Because Our press, there's a high turnover. You get students for a year or two, junior, senior, then they graduate and they go off and do something wonderful with their lives. And then you have new juniors and new seniors, and you have to keep reinventing your staff. But that's both the blessing and the curse. It's the curse because you want to keep the good people, like
Right.
keep. But then you realize it's the blessing because the good ones come behind as well.
Right.
You always have the opportunity to develop new skills in students, and so working with the students through this is incredibly gratifying.
Yeah.
I would imagine one of the downsides is that you're always constantly kind of on this training treadmill.
Yep.
Because you're always bringing new bodies in.
Yeah.
So you got to train.
Yeah.
train.
And I guess, because we are a teaching press, that is one of the monikers, of what our program is designed to be. It's built into the curriculum, so students take coursework and work for the press at the same time. So they're learning about the industry from a pedagogical perspective, and then they're also putting it into practice at events like this. They're coming in and actually working for the press at the same time. Okay. So as opposed to if this were just an independent business and I had employees and we had a mission, and because of that educational curricular component, it makes the training part, it's all kind of baked into the ethos of the press.
Right.
Yeah.
So for authors out there that are interested in approaching you, what is the pitch path like for Cornerstone Press?
So again, we are a literary trade press. So therefore, for the most part, we're not interested, in particular genres like romance or even horror. Even though we're putting out a WWA member's first book next year, Dave Rank, a book of horror stories. We predominantly focus on literary fiction, poetry, and again, nonfiction essays and memoir. So pitch focus is, are you writing literary fiction? Are you writing poetry? We're not interested in like self-help for nonfiction. We're more literary nonfiction as well. Right. So memoir, creative, lyrical work. The pitch path though is that it's going to take a year and a half to 2 years if you are acquired. Our acceptance rate is about 10%. So we get a lot of submissions, and we accept about 10% of those submissions across all of our genres. So
do you have any sense of whether that's higher or lower than like a non-university?
I think that's industry standard. Anywhere from 8 to 10%, from what I understand, is about what a traditional university press is going to look at. If you start creeping above 25%, then you never want to ever be construed as a vanity press that just is whatever you want to give me and we'll put it out and take everybody. And there has to be some some exclusivity. And that's a tradition in publishing. We hear the words like gatekeeping, or I always call it's more about developing sort of a cultural competency, that a publisher's responsibility is both private and public. Privately, we're looking for something that's beautifully written and understandable and really good. But publicly, the public expects us to put out good books, not bad books. So there has to be some relationship between quality and putting out a book. Right.
You'd like to think it's a very positive, highly rated,
of course,
relationship. So that 10% acceptance rate, what does it really boil down to in terms of annual release? Like the average number of books you're putting out in a year?
At least 50 books a year, and that's spread across 3 genres. So the genre we put the least out in is our Back Home series, which is nonfiction. About 3 to 5 books a year in that series, and then it alternates between poetry and short fiction, 25-ish per year. So yeah, it's a substantial list each year.
No kidding.
But we're proud of the fact that we're able to generate that and put out work by good writers that we really believe in.
Yeah, it is impressive. 50 a year. I guess I would not have thought that. So that is very impressive.
Yeah, we've grown it substantially over the last 9 years. It's grown, but now we like where we're at. I think 50. We can't go too much beyond that.
Right. Yeah. At some point, you have capacity. Right? Yeah.
We keep moving the goalposts, but I think I'm done moving.
Your
the goalposts.
sanity level it matters a lot.
We've hit the point where it's good, and I like the energy around lots of titles and getting all these different authors working. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. The URL for your website? For
sure. www.uwsp.edu/Cornerstone.
Okay.
That's us.
We'll pop that in the show notes for this one.
Yeah.
And the last thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention to everybody out there, as we're sitting in central Wisconsin, that Ross, along with Luella and I, happens to be a Vikings fan. So
Skull.
we're on the right side.
Skull.
Boom.
Right side of the purple.
That's
so
right.
And we're in the midst of football season, so
Yeah,
go Vikings.
we just lost all of our listeners.
Exactly. You can all drop off now.
You have
That's
to
fine.
tolerate us. All right.
That's right.
All
It's
right,
gold.
Ross. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Definitely
Thanks, Ross.
appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right.